Hi, I'm Karina, and I must have made a big mistake. From the outside, it looks crazy. But I didn't think it would turn out like this. I'm 16, I'm a senior, and I've spent most of my senior year studying. Not that I like it, but to get into a good university, you need high scores. Special pain is mathematics. Equations, geometry puzzles, whatever you take, I get it very difficult. Sometimes with homework, Diana helps me. She is my best friend. We were sitting in class after school, and she was explaining things to me. It was Friday. I was sweating over homework all by myself. Diana and her parents were out of town for the weekend, and suddenly, there was a pleasant voice overheard.
You gonna be here all night?
Looking up, I met a handsome guy who was holding a stack of textbooks neatly, and I could see the bag on his shoulder that the teachers usually wore. I heard that a new teacher came to our school. I'm sorry, I forgot all about the time with these problems. I jumped.
Can I help?
Guy looked in his notebook. It's a complicated subject. This is definitely the new teacher Diana told me about. You're the new teacher, right, Mr.
Let's just David. What don't you understand?
And David sat down beside me. He had such a soft and pleasant voice. I found myself staring into his mouth. David explained the subject to me in 10 minutes, and so readily that I decided on my own homework. Thank you, Mr. David. He smiled and said he'd walk me to the bus stop because it was already dark outside. It was a strange feeling. A teacher was walking by me, but we were chatting on various subjects, laughing, joking. At the bus stop, a bus arrived, and I drove home, waving goodbye to David. He stayed with me all night and all weekend. I wanted to know more about him. There was no information on the school's website about a teacher named David. I didn't know his name, and his curiosity was just sorted out. After Monday, I could hardly wait to look for him at break time, in the cafeteria, in the schoolyard, but in vain. 3 days had passed. David had vanished. Diane and I agreed to stay after class again. There was a new geometry topic, and I didn't understand anything. I was sitting in class, waiting for my friend from practice.
Let me guess. Math again.
The familiar voice sounded in the classroom. David! With joy inside me, everything trembled. Where were you? Why didn't I see you? Wait, it's the teacher. I can't behave like that with him, but my eyes spoke instead of me. This time I decided to cheat. Closing the notebook, I looked at David with challenge. You know, I already did, but thanks for asking. David hesitated for less than a minute, and then we went for a walk. He dragged me to the city park for rides. It wasn't much of a crowd, but I was still tense. What if someone saw me with my teacher? And David didn't care. We took a few rides on the Ferris wheel on the roller coaster and ran into the panic room where we laughed until we cried. Thank you. I haven't had so much fun in a long time. I was saying goodbye to David when he took me home tonight. He squeezed my hand gently and touched my temple with his lips. I walked home on my cotton buds. The place was burning. Butterflies fluttered in my stomach, and my head trembled with thoughts. What was it? If the school found out about this, David would at least be reprimanded. Is it my fault? I had to talk to someone, now. I called Diana, but she didn't answer. I couldn't wait. Taxi, and in 20 minutes, I was knocking on the door of her house. We were friends for a long time, so her mom let me in without a problem. I ran up the stairs. The door to Diana's room had been opened, and I heard silent voices. And I knew both of them well, which made me uncomfortable. David was in Diana's room. I was frozen listening. She needs to explain. This teacher fiction is terrible.
We'll tell you tomorrow. That's not why I came. I like you, Diane.
I became very dizzy. He likes my girlfriend. And the teacher he played for me. It's unbearable. I turned around and quickly ran around, pushing Diana's mother. Are you leaving, Karina? But I was already running on the way. Tears caught my eyes. Why are they so with me? Suddenly I got the headlights and there was a sharp sound of brakes. The car miraculously stopped right in front of me. There came a pale... David? Stay away from me! You disgust me, you hear me?
Diana, please calm down. You've got it all wrong. It was Robin who was at Diana's house. And I'm his twin brother, David. You and I rode the Ferris wheel. I was trembling. No more strength. I cried. And suddenly the guy hugged me. I don't know how long we've been standing like this, but his shirt was soaking wet from my tears. When I calmed down, David put me in the car and started the engine. Everything seemed to slow down. Suddenly before me, I saw the starry sky, and below stretched the night city. This is my favorite spot. I hang out here a lot at night. The guy started slow, and then he told me how Robin met Diana at practice. And he really liked her, but he didn't dare tell her. But Diane told me about her friend Karina, me, and David had a plan. Brother wanted to get close to Diana through you. David admitted that at first he saw me as entertainment. He was amused by the fact that I thought he was a teacher. But the second meeting changed everything. I didn't play, I didn't pretend. I was really good with you, and I want to start from scratch. I was looking at the starry sky and I couldn't believe it was really happening to me. I like David. That's why I'm so screwed because of everything I heard at Diana's house. And he seems sincere now. I put my head on his shoulder and we sat there in silence for a long time. A week has passed since then. I'm ignoring Diana, although she asked me to listen to her a few times. David picked me up at school today. She saw it. And a few minutes later, I got a message from her saying, "I'm glad you're happy at that price." I'm really happy now, but not to the end. Diana's trust is lost. Would I forgive that? When a friend is trying to get a guy to go out with you for your own good? I don't know. If you have an answer, please write to me. I'm Sky, and I've decided to punish my father. He caused so much pain to my mother that he deserves everything I've got in store for him. I'm very scared, but I won't stop. Hear me out, and maybe you can give me some good advice. Dad didn't marry Mom for love. His parents forced him to when they found out I was about to be born. And for me, for years, my parents created the semblance of a wholesome, happy family. When I was 10, I suspected something was wrong. My father started going away often on business trips and not staying home at night, and my mother cried more often at night. My father always brought me some luxurious gift from his business trips, had dinner with us, and then went away again. And he said to do some work. By the time I was 14, I realized that it wasn't work. My father just lived away from us. But for holidays and for my birthday, he was in the family. Many of my classmates had single-parent families. But for some reason, it was especially difficult for me. Maybe because for everyone, my family looked so happy. But in reality, one day something happened that fundamentally changed my attitude to my father, and I practically started hating him. And why I started hating him? You'll find out later. But now, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And make sure you have the bell clicked so you'll know when there's a new video coming out. So, we were celebrating my 15th birthday. The house was decorated with balloons. My mom ordered a huge cake. My girlfriend sat around for a while and then left. And I stayed at the party table with my parents. I rarely saw them together. And I always missed them terribly. Dad furtively glanced at his watch and his phone. "Dad, is it work again?" I asked in an innocent tone. Dad smiled a little and nodded back. "Do not go anywhere. Let's watch a comedy together and have another piece of cake. Please." I was determined to do anything I could to make him stay. And Dad gave in. Mom, hiding a tired smile, went to make more tea. And Dad and I sat down on the couch and turned on the first movie we saw. In about 15 minutes, my dad was sniffling peacefully into his pillow. And suddenly there was a message on his phone. The phone was next to me, so I could read the message. "Hi baby, where do we meet?" I felt like I was thrown out of a bucket of cold water. Baby!
and the messages poured out one by one. It was a dating site. And my dad didn't seem to be new to the site. He was receiving messages from all kinds of girls, and some of them said, "You again, long time no see." I felt uncomfortable. It was hard to accept this thought. And even harder was the fact that the pictures of the girls who wrote to my father were just a little older than me. I got mad at my dad. Having a relationship with young girls? That's just disgusting. So I decided to teach him a lesson. The plan was simple. My neighbor and good friend Suri was a photographer, and she had all kinds of props at her house. I said I wanted a dramatic change of image, and we did it. I made fabulous makeup, put on a wig, put on a sexy outfit, and my photos were on fire. I registered on this site, and I put a couple of pictures of myself. And I didn't even recognize myself. With the wig, the bright makeup, and the outfit that made me look beautiful, Suri, my photographer next door, helped me out. When I explained the idea to her, she clapped her hands together and told me it would be an unforgettable experience. I did not recognize myself, but my father immediately fell for the image. Apparently, he liked such striking girls. He made an appointment at the hotel. At the reception, they gave me the key, smiling slyly. And now I'm sitting in this room, and everything inside me is shaking. It's still an hour before my father arrives. I purposely came in advance. I don't know what to do. I want to humiliate him. I want to hurt him. And he's been hurting and betraying my mother all these years. But at the same time, he's my dad, and I love him. And everybody makes mistakes. What would you do? Advise me. I am no longer sure of anything, and the time is passing. In fact, I have the urge to run away, but I have so thought it all out. Please help me with your advice. Your advice is very important to me.